the Inspired Method YouTube channel. My name is Trevor and this is my beautiful wife Karen, and today she's going to be sharing with us how to use Facebook groups for your business. Now, here's a great African proverb: if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Here's a quick stat for you from Convince and Convert website. 27.3% use brand communities for research. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, so some people have different opinions about Facebook groups, but we're going to share our thoughts, probably mostly my thoughts, on this topic. And because I've had lots of people ask this question of, how do I make a group? What do I do with it? And there's lots of unanswered questions. So we're going to break it down a little bit for you guys.
All right, if you're ready, question number one: what are the two main reasons you might use Facebook groups for your business?
Well, those two main reasons are pretty simple. One is brand awareness. So bringing that awareness to your brand so that you're out there in the public and getting known and people see it and recognize it. And then the other one is business function. So how you communicate with your customers, how you function as a business, giving the behind the scenes of your business.
Okay. Now, what are some ways a Facebook group can build brand awareness, like you were saying?
Well, the first one is trust. You bring about that value of, your customers can trust you, you show who you are, and then they obviously can know and like and trust you, and then they buy from you, and it just fosters that in a group. So not just on your Facebook page or your website, but inside of a community group. And then also it can, like I said, foster the community. So your community is growing, you're getting like people in there that are going to communicate with each other, and it builds that community within. Then also you can become a thought leader in your industry. So if you're the plumber of the century, you have a Facebook group, or maybe you're, maybe a fitness, something that's, whatever your expertise is, you become that leader in the group because you are the one who owns the group, and you can kind of put yourself on that stage of, I'm the leader, these are my thoughts, people start believing you, they trust you, you are the authority on the subject. So it just builds that thought leadership. Okay.
Now, what are some ways a Facebook group can serve a business function?
So some of the most obvious ways is you're connecting and you're sharing between you and your ideal clients. You don't want to just be selling into your group. You don't want that to really be happening in a group. That's what a Facebook page is for, as opposed to a group. A group is fostering the community within, and so you want to connect with your customers and have them connect with you as a brand, but also how your business functions. You could also, this is actually a really good one, you can have very easy access to customer service. Your customers can get serviced by you. You can hear their concerns. Maybe they have issues. You can do market research inside of that group. You can ask questions. What do they need to know? What don't they know? You find out through polls, through questions, through just different topics. And you can also use the group for, different softwares and hardware that that they would want to use. You can showcase it in there, and maybe even teach them how to use the things that just depends on the industry you're in. But you can have people learning about how to use your product or service inside the group.
All right, so Karen, a lot of business owners might be asking, does my business need a group?
Quite a few businesses do need a group. The conversations are really what the group is about. So if you want people to be talking about you and building your brand and becoming raving fans, then yes, I would build a group, because they're going to have conversations going on inside that group. And those conversations should actually be started by the members of the group themselves, not by you as the owner of the group or the owner of the brand. You want them to be talking to each other, and then, of course, you can step in and be the thought leader or the expert on the topics. And these can actually be private conversations, or they can be public conversations. So you can take it from public, and then they could actually have those conversations even in private. So there's lots of functions in there.
Okay, so how is my Facebook page different from a group?
Well, like I said, conversations are started by members within a group, whereas a conversation would be started by the owner of the page or the owner of the business. So that's one big difference. And then one-on-one dialogue can be started in Messenger for, between you as the owner on your Facebook page to a specific customer or target audience, whatever it is. That can be started in Messenger, and that's more of a Facebook page idea. But there is one key benefit of having a group is that you get notifications, like you really get notified of what your members are talking about. So you kind of get that inside scoop all the time when you've got your notifications turned on within the group. So
Okay, Karen, what are the different types of groups?
well, there's kind of three types, and I should mention as your group gets larger, there's a point where you won't be able to change the type of group. So I'll explain what they are, and then you'll have to decide how you want to take the route for your own business. But the first one is public. Anyone can see your group, anyone can see the members, so even if they're not a part of the group, they can still see it. They can see the posts. In fact, they can even see that stuff even if they're not logged into Facebook. I'm pretty sure Google pulls that stuff up if they decide to do a search. They might find it. So that's public, so that's out in the open, and like everyone knows, when something's put out on social media, it doesn't matter how private it is, it can still get leaked everywhere. So you should always keep that in mind to be safe that way. And the next one is, so actually private or public groups are really good for visibility, obviously. I just wanted to mention that. The next kind of group is a closed group, and that is where only members can see what's posted in the group, and they can see who the other members are. So that's a closed group. But if somebody types in, I want to, whatever title they want, whatever they're looking for within Facebook, they will find your group based on what the name of your group is, maybe some of the posts that are happening in your group, but they won't actually see if they're not a member already as a closed group. And then, so it's an open group, but it's semi-private. And then you have a secret group, which is the third type, and only members can find the group. It is by invitation only. So you will not see nobody else can see outside of it, who's in it, or even any of the topics really, so it's very secret. So like I said, choose wisely, because when you get to a certain member count, and I think it's maybe 5,000, it's pretty high. But once you hit 5,000, you can't change it. You can't go back to closed, or you can't really do a lot of changing. So be aware of that ahead of time.
All right. Now, next question is, can a business page establish a group?
Yes, this is a kind of a newer function in the last, 6 months, maybe 12 months. I can't remember exactly when. But pages are now allowed to be the owners of a group, whereas it used to be just a personal profile that could be the owner of a group. So you can have your brand or your business be the owner of that group, and you can communicate either as the business page, or you can communicate as your personal page. So you can switch it back and forth actually, and you can post either way. So it's kind of good. It's a good function.
Now, how do you choose a name for your group?
So this is kind of funny, because in our group for Inspired Method, we actually called it Inspired Method, I think, in the beginning. I don't even know exactly. I changed the name quite a few times. I hadn't read this information at that time. But you should not change it too often. Find a name that fits with your brand and what your purpose is, and choose that. So capture the essence of your business, represent your members as well, and be easy to find. So let's say your page or your group is all about some sort of membership, and you have some sort of symbol or a pin. You could have that kind of, you're capturing those members, that they have an identity and a community feel, because they're part of that. So
now, what other tips do you have about choosing a name?
So relate your brand's name to a group name. So if it's marketing, maybe have that word in there, marketing, in your group. There's lots of examples of that. And place any key words for your group name at the beginning of your name. So if it's social media, you might want that word social media right at the beginning. Or if it's, give me an example of a group name or a group type that you.
Paint night.
Paint it, yeah.
Pottery.
Yeah, so you might want something arts related at the beginning, and then maybe how to at the end. There's, you'd have to contact us directly to let us give you great examples, but depending on the group type. So have those at the beginning of the name of your group, and don't change the name too often. Like I said, don't do it too frequently. And again, once you hit that 5,000 member count, it's pretty restricted in changing the name at that point. So think carefully about what you want.
Now, how do you brand your group?
Well, your group doesn't have to mirror your Facebook page. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, and it shouldn't really, because that's just duplicating, and why would people need to be inside your community if they already get everything on your page? But you can make it as an extension of a more intimate setting, I guess, from your page to a group. And then your cover photo is actually very important. You could have your some sort of symbol that symbolizes your brand or your community right on that cover photo, and make sure that the size fits and that the words are clear on that cover photo, because you want people to recognize and remember that when they're coming into the group. And you can actually even choose the color background for your group, so they'll recognize if you have more than one group for your brand, they'll recognize, oh, this is the one group, but this is actually, I actually have an example of this because I'm in a community group about this diet plan I'm on and this exercise plan. And there's one group that's very specific challenge, and it's the spring challenge. But then there's a bigger group that has many more members, but it's still related, it's still the same brand, but it's more of a bigger, more open group, and it has men and women in it, whereas this challenge one only has women and it's much smaller. And I'm starting to recognize, that I'm in the blue group, it's still the same brand, so I'm still catching all the same a lot of the same information, but because of the colors, I realize, this is the more intimate group, this is where I want to post whatever I want to post. So it makes a difference for the colors, so that you want to keep that less confusing for your members. That really helps. And then make sure that your copy reflects who you are and everything you put in that group. Right down to your group descriptions and the rules that you place in the group. So, and that's my advice on groups, and if your business should have one. I think most businesses could benefit if you would like to have that community and build a community of people that become your raving fans. It's a great place for you to get market research. It's a great place for them to get customer service from you. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, no, that's all great stuff, Karen. Thank you for sharing. So if you liked what you saw here today and heard on Inspired Methods YouTube channel, we would love to hear from you. Give us some comments down below. Give us a thumbs up if you liked it, as well as don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We'll see you guys next time.